Hey guys, this is the Kaijudo channel here with amazing news. This is amazing, this is ridiculous. This is Kaijudo news. This is probably one of the best Kaijudo news I have ever filmed ever. So today is August 15th, 2012, and we have gotten a lot of news from Wizards of the Coast, so let's go straight to it. Alright, the biggest thing, which I think a lot of people saw coming, including myself, we finally know what the name of the set is for the holiday set. Are you ready to hear the name, guys? I am ecstatic about this, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. The name of the set that is coming out in November is called Evo Fury. Yes, you heard me right, Evo Fury, and you know what that means, guys. If you guys have played the original Duel Masters, you guys know that that means evolution creatures. Oh yeah. So if you look at the picture that they revealed to us, look at the bottom of the card, you know, where the effect box is. You can see that logo on the original Duel Masters cards, on the Evolution cards. You can see the exact same logo. It's like that same weird shape. And that pretty much confirms that we are getting Evolution creatures in that holiday set, which is called Evo Fury. Also, they changed the date to November instead of December like they originally said in their pamphlet at the start of the game's release. I'm expecting it more like late November, because I think we're getting sets a bit too fast, and I don't think they're going to be releasing sets every, like, 2 months. So I'm kind of expecting more towards, like, late November, which is more closer to, like, the holiday, like they were going for, instead of, you know, early November. I doubt that's going to happen. So I would say somewhere around November 20-something is probably going to be the release date of this, and I'm just so stoked about these evolution creatures, and I'm sure most of you are too. Alright, on to even more awesome news. Kaijudo League. Remember that, guys? I'm going to give you a little bit of a refresher here. So Kaijudo League is actually going to be starting at the same time as the release of Rise of the Duel Masters base set, which is September 7th. It was originally planned to be September 21st, but they said, you know what? We're going to release base set on September 7th. We're also going to release Kaijudo League on September 7th. So September 7th is a really big date to mark down on your calendars because a lot of stuff's going to go on. But not only did they tell us about this new date change, we also get to see all 3 promo cards. Oh yeah! So these 3 cards are attainable by competing in these Kaijudo League events, which is going to take place every week from September 7th to somewhere in mid-October. And you keep on getting points. You rack up points with all the games you play. And there are benchmarks that you have to reach to get these promo cards. So after you reach the first point benchmark, you get this card right here, Mighty Shouter, the Shaman. Awesome stuff. Now, we originally thought that this was going to be the original Mighty Shouter that's coming out in base set, but that is actually not true. We're getting a different version of Mighty Shouter. So this one is a level 5, 5000 Beastkin, and his effect is Mighty Roar. So whenever this creature attacks, each of your other creatures get 2000 power until the end of the turn. So the way I see this is pretty much take Raging Goliath, but give it more of an Aqua Seneschal effect, but apply it to all your creatures instead of just your Beastkins. So in a way, I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's not something we expected. It's not really amazing, but I think it has place in certain aggro decks, especially the tap and kill ones and ones that use overcharge. And Holy All is going to be coming out soon. That's going to be epic with this card. So I mean, just imagine turn 5 this when you have, you know, a good 2 or 3 other creatures because you're playing like a rushish aggro-ish deck. And then you play Stormspark Blast, which is the Holy Awe card that taps all your enemy creatures. And then you swing with this, and then everyone has 2000 more power. And that can almost confirm that you're going to be getting rid of their whole field. So I think this card is actually quite devastating, and it's definitely a lot more underrated than people think. Alright, now if you reach the second point benchmark, you get a card called Flare Inhibitor. And if you remember when I talked about Kaijudo League in another Kaijudo news video, which was a long time ago, I was guessing that Flare Inhibitor was going to be Phantom Dragon's Flame from the original game. But it turns out I was way off, because Flare Inhibitor is actually a light creature right here. Flare Inhibitor is a level 5, 1500 power creature with the Enforcer race. And he's pretty much like your average blocker that all the light creatures have. You know, blocker, skirmisher, meaning they could attack creatures at least. But this one has a neat effect. It's called Recalibrate. And if this creature would be banished, put it into your shield zone face down as a new shield instead. This card is like, what's that card from the original? I think it's called Raza Vega, or think there was another called Ooks, like O-U-K-S. I don't really remember, but there's a couple cards that did that in the original game that, you know, went back to shields instead of getting banished. And this is pretty much another one of those, but it's a blocker and it's a lot cheaper. I don't know if this really has place index. I think it would need a lot of testing. I mean, it's interesting that you get to save yourself from an extra attack, I guess, because you're going to be blocking with this, and then it goes into your shields instead. So, I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to evaluate this card, but I guess it's good against the non-double breaker creatures, I guess, because, you know, they'll be swinging, and then you could just say, oh, I'm going to block and put it in my shields, and then you could just kind of keep on going with that until your opponent has a lot of creatures, and then it's kind of hard to deal with, and then Flare Inhibitor kind of sucks. But then again, you could run more than one of these, so I don't know. I really don't know where to evaluate this card, but Flare Inhibitor, there you go. And lastly, if you finish in the top 10 placing in your league, like your store's league, not out of everyone else, but just your store's league, if you finish in the top 10, you get a Morna promo. Now, this is not the original Morna that is going to be inside base set. Just like Mighty Shouter, it's actually a much, much different card, and I'm very excited about this. But this Morna is called Morna the Vengeful. Holy moly. Alright, I am really, really, really excited about this card. This is pretty much Fire's version of Terra Dragon in a way. And I personally like it a lot better. But here we go. Morna the Vengeful. Level 9, 8,000 power, Armored Dragon. Double Breaker, and his effect is Rapid Fire. When this creature enters the battle zone, banish up to 2 target enemy creatures that each have power 4,000 or less. Oh yeah, Value City. So, level 9 is kind of a scary cost, but the same applies with Terra Dragon Regarion Doom. They both kind of do their own things. I mean, one is pretty much a root trap, and this one is pretty much like an Apocalypse Vise, if you think about it. Apocalypse Vise in the original game was a level 7 spell that pretty much banished enemy creatures that all totaled up to 8,000 or less. Well, this one is kind of limited version of that, in that you have to banish up to 2. You can't do more than 2, but you can do 2 4,000 or less. It's a very minuscule Apocalypse Vise in a creature, and I think that is really, really good. The only downside is that it's level 9, and it's definitely a lot harder to get this guy out, but I think in control decks, it definitely has room for at least 1 or 2 of these, because we are kind of lacking mass removal cards, and this is, you know, 1 out of the 2 that I think we know about right now. I mean, there's Overcharge, which is quasi-mass removal, but it's not really. You have to attack into creatures. And then we get Barrage also, which destroys all of your enemies' 2,000 or less creatures. But then we get this thing, and, well, it can banish 2 4,000 or less. I think the more mass removal, the better. So I think this definitely can see play in control decks, and I can't wait to play this card. Hopefully I finish in my top 10. If one store around here actually runs League. I haven't heard back from any of the stores I contacted yet, but I better get some contacts soon, or else no leagues are going to be happening here, and I'm going to be really sad. Also, if you want to know some tips about Kaijudo League, they posted an article in the strategy and tips section of the site, so be sure to check the link down in the description for that. It's just, you know, 7 tips on how to make Kaijudo League awesome and not kind of, you know, too competitive and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, like kind of like the Kaijudo code. It's like the code of Kaijudo. You kind of have to follow these kind of laws or rules or whatever, and Kaijudo League will be awesome for you guys. Alright, wrapping things up, there's a couple things left to talk about. Now, Ultra Pro. Remember last week when Ultra Pro said that they will be providing a lot of awesome trading card game accessories for Kaijudo? Well, Ultra Pro has finally confirmed that playmats will also be done by them. So we will be getting official Kaijudo playmats done by Ultra Pro themselves. So definitely stay tuned for that, because that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to see what they offer. Alright, I got one shout out to make, because I don't think I gave these guys a shout out yet, and I have no idea why I didn't. But please go check out Denver Kaijudo. Annotation's going to be right there. Denver Kaijudo is pretty much, like the name states, it's a Kaijudo team from Denver, Colorado. I think they are 3 people, might be more, I don't know. I think their league is going to have at least like 8 people or so. but they're mainly 3 people. I got some duels with a couple of the team members. They're really awesome dudes. They have, I think, about 10-15 videos up right now. You know, they have their introduction video to get to know them better. They have a lot of deck profiles and a lot of duels up already. Yeah, you should definitely check them out. They're doing a really good job. They don't have much subscribers, so please share your love to them. Go and subscribe to Denver Kaijudo because I could only see better things from them. They're really, really cool. Also, if you guys have Facebook or Twitter or both, then I highly suggest that you go follow and like the official Kaijudo pages. So links will be down in the description alongside my personal Facebook and Twitter pages. So please support both me and Wizards of the Coast because, you know, they need it and they post lots of awesome stuff between the 2 social pages. So it's really, really awesome. Alright guys, I hope you loved the news this week. I sure did. Really, really crazy stuff. I'm so stoked for what Wizards is doing with Kaijudo. It's just going so well. So, guys, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. This is the Kaijudo channel, signing off. See you later, guys.